Good afternoon. It's Tonya Duncan Ellis from the Sophie Washington series with another episode of Write This, my author interview show. And I am excited to be here today on a bright sunny day here in Houston, Read Across America Day, and the fourth day of Black Children's Book Week. And in honor of Black Children's Book Week, we're having on Terri Hamm, who is the owner of Kindred Stories Bookstore here in Houston. And we'll also be talking about the importance of diversity for children. So I can't wait to have her on. I've had a busy morning today because with Read Across America, I went out and visited some children in local schools. I had an author visit, so that's always fun to interact with the youth and get them excited about reading and find out about the books that they are reading and enjoying. So we'll wait a little bit for Terri to come on and then talk to her about her bookstore. I've loved visiting the store. I've been in the store a couple of times since she's open, and it's a beautiful space with all kinds of great books by Black authors. And she also has a lot of wonderful events that she has promoted here in our community. And I'm looking forward to attending some of those as things open up. She had some great ones just a couple months ago, and I was hesitant to go because of the pandemic. But I can't wait to join in now that things are opening up even more in some of these wonderful activities that they have been putting on at Kindred Stories. So I see that she has joined us. I'm going to send her an invitation to come on, and we'll get her in. But I'm happy to see you all who have joined us. Thank you for coming on. It's good to see you. Hope that you're doing well. Hey
Hi,
Terri, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. I'm so happy that you had this time to come on and talk to me about Kindred Stories and all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and I was saying that I've been following you for a little while, going to some of your pop-ups before you got your space that you're in now. And
I
I'm just
remember.
amazed at all you've done. It's really been wonderful.
Yeah, it's been quite the ride. We've only been open for a year now, and yeah, we have done a lot, and I'm tired.
So it's been a
But
year. Have you been there for a year at your space?
no, we've been like Kindred Stories has been in existence for a year, and we've been in this space just since September. But some of those big events you mentioned earlier happened before we were in our space. So yeah, it's been a crazy year, but it's been good. Yeah.
Right. And I know it's got to be challenging because it's hard enough keeping a bookstore afloat and doing things in regular time, or what we call regular times. But you did all this in the pandemic. So this is amazing if you look at how far you've come.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I often get questions about like how I think the pandemic has affected like business and stuff like that, but I have nothing to compare it to. And I'm sure I'd probably have a different response to that question if we were in like, on the coast on in New York or someplace with some more strict COVID restrictions. But yeah, I think we've done the best that we can.
Right. Now, how did you start the bookstore? Can you tell us a little bit about how did you come up with the concept and get it going?
Well, I started this bookstore because I was just tired of there not being an accessible space for folks to gather, around for their love for Black authored literature. There weren't enough Black spaces where that was accessible. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna do this, but I wanted to do it my way, and my way is kind of like slow starting, safe. And so I started with the pop-ups. And I just really wanted to use that opportunity to see, like, I know that this is something that I want, but is this something that the market wants? Is this something that, Houston really wants and will get behind? Or is this something that just exists in my head? So we started with the pop-ups. And then those were tons of fun. I mean, you came to a pop-up at day 6.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I, through the pop-ups we could see like, yeah, people wanted a Black book space. They wanted more, and I'm not saying that there are no Black book spaces that exist, but they definitely wanted more. And
Right.
so from there, we started looking for, you know, a space to open in. And I actually got an opportunity from the Project Row Houses to, you know, open a temporary space on their site. So our physical location, our current physical location is actually just a temporary location. We won't be here forever, but you know, we'll be here until we figure out exactly what our next step is. And for me, we'll be here until, you know, we're confident in, you know, moving on to a much larger space.
Right. And what I
Yeah.
love is that you're located near a historic part of Houston, or a historic part for our nation, by Emancipation Park, which is where the first formerly enslaved people celebrated after they were free after Juneteenth. So that's really wonderful that you're right there.
Yeah, it was really important for me to and even when we move past this space, when we move on from this space, it's just always important for me to make sure that we are located in a neighborhood that, you know, doesn't typically have access to a bookstore. There's so many neighborhoods across the city and across the nation that are what I refer to as book deserts, where the kids and people that live in that community don't really have access to books. And there are studies on this. If you guys Google book deserts, you'll see there are all kinds of studies on the fact that just like food deserts exist, there are also book deserts. So it was super important for me to make sure that we had a physical presence in a neighborhood that had folks, you know, that had folks that live there, that look like me, that look like us. And so, yeah, Third Ward is kind of the perfect neighborhood for that. You know, Emancipation Park is amazing. So we're super excited to be located across the street from Emancipation Park. It's also central, you know, central in Houston. So it definitely checks a couple of boxes.
Right. And I just am happy that I'm just so happy you're here, because I had been saying, you know, I want more events, I want more things. And even though I
Exactly.
was scared to come to Tabitha Brown because of the pandemic, you know,
Yeah.
I really want to support the activities and
I
things you
was
do.
scared too. but
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that were not scared. They came.
Right. It was awesome. Yes.
It was
Now,
awesome. It was crazy. Okay.
yeah. Now, how do you organize those events? How do you also brought Gabrielle Union in, and how are you getting these people in?
Yeah, I have definitely been working really hard to establish publisher relationships so that you know, so that we Kindred Stories can be considered when these authors are going on tour. So it's, you know, sometimes I reach out to the publishers and I'm like, hey, I have this event idea, you know, how can I connect with the author or the publicist? And in both of those cases, the publisher actually reached out to us to put those events on. So it kind of, you know, sometimes it's us reaching out, sometimes it's the publishers reaching out.
That's
Yeah,
good. Well,
but
I'm
just
looking
like
forward
you,
to more events.
yeah, me too. And just like you know, like I wanted more author talks where I felt like we were welcomed, you know. There are a lot of author talks happening throughout the city, but not many of them are happening in Black spaces. So it was important for us to, you know, to create more of that opportunity.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, with this being Black Children's Book Week, this is the inaugural Black Children's Book Week event that Black Baby Books spearheaded. So we're celebrating Black children, and you know, it's so important for us to encourage children, all children, to read. But they're trying to show that love to our Black children. And why is that important, that they see themselves in books that they read?
Well, it's funny enough, you know, like another reason why I decided to open this bookstore was because of my own daughter. I mean, she has always been an avid reader since she was, you know, 5, 6, 7. And I think she really loves reading, and especially in the YA space, because she is so curious about, like, you know, what does it mean to be Black? And I think through books, she's learning that being Black can mean many, 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 many different things. Are you still there?
Yes, it paused for a minute, but
Yeah. You know, she's
oh,
seeing
oh,
that
you
being
don't
Black
see
can, you
me.
know, being a Black girl. Oh, are you still there?
Yes, it kind of keeps fading out. Oh man. So Yes, you hear me,
Okay,
Terry?
it might be my
Okay.
Wi-Fi. But yeah, being Black means so many different things. There's so many different ways to be a Black girl, and I think she was discovering that through her reading. Taking it outside of her everyday experience. She was learning so much about the experiences of others. She was also seeing her own experience reflected in books. So I think that's why it is so important for children to have access to books with not just main characters that look like them, but with stories that reflect their own experiences.
Mhm.
And I think it's important for our children to be able to, be affirmed by these stories, to see themselves in these stories, and then also allows them to, witness by text the experience that others have, whether it be in their own city, in this country, and throughout the world. And that is all accessible through reading. So I think it's definitely, definitely important. And in our store, I feel like, our children's section, especially our YA section, is the most important section in the store because a lot of these books, especially in the YA space, they deal with topics and subjects that, sometimes these kids don't have a physical in real life support system for. So we're talking about LGBTQ subjects. A lot of children, unfortunately, maybe sometimes the only Black kid in their school, and so they get to read about the experiences of others that are going through similar things in the YA section. So yeah, I think at the core of what Kindred Stories is, we are about increasing access to these books for our kids for sure.
Right. And that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a wonderful thing. And you kind of echo things that I've heard from, there's a psychologist, Rudine Sims Bishop, who
Mm-hmm.
says about books becoming mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors, opening up those worlds to the kids.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm. And then I noticed a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago, you were on Good Morning America, was it? So what was that about?
It was random. It was awesome. Good Morning America reached out. They just let me know that they were trying to support Black bookstores, during Black History Month. And so I guess our store was chosen as one of the stores that they wanted to pick for a Buzz Pick feature. So we went through this process of just figuring out what pick was I going to actually share. It couldn't be like a Jenna's book pick. It couldn't be a Good Morning America pick already. So, so we kind of went through that process and we settled on a book called Nobody's Magic by Destiny O. Birdsong, who we actually had a virtual event with. I don't think it was last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it was
Oh, that sounds
fun.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I became, I don't know, I don't want to say I became famous overnight, but I had people I hadn't spoken to in like 20 years that like, was texting me, calling me.
Yeah,
And
that is so good.
yeah, it was cool. I don't watch the news. I was like, man, all these people still watch Good Morning America. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is good. And really, you talked about books being an example for your daughter, but you as a female entrepreneur and doing the things that you're doing, you're a role model for young girls. It's also Women's History Month. So you're serving in that role for women out here as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter, she has witnessed this whole journey. She's seen it from the very, very beginnings of me just like toying with thinking about like this idea of opening a bookstore and then getting to see me, go through the process of just, you know, figuring out like, do we want to do this? What are we going to call the bookstore? Like, what's our logo going to look like? Like, what
Now,
is our
how did you come up with that? How did you come up with the name Kindred Stories?
So I have a chat with like all of my two really, really good friends, best friends, and my husband. And we were just throwing around names. I mean, for me, and I think for marketing purposes, it's just really important to be super thoughtful about like what you name your business and what the branding looks like. And so I definitely wanted to come up with like a catchy name, a cool name, but a name that also had like a really thoughtful meaning. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, we had a group chat and we were just throwing names like on the chat. Like, we also had to check like, well, is this name already taken?
Mhm.
Is the Instagram name taken? Is there a URL available for it? So it's very layered. It's not like you just like, oh, we're gonna name it this and it's
Right.
available everywhere. It's not being used already. So we went through quite a bit of that. Anyway, and then we finally settled on Kindred Stories, and it's the perfect name.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And I got a bookmark from Kindred Stories. It's my favorite bookmark.
Oh,
So you
thank
said,
you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
and with for the logo, um, I'm not afraid to like reach out for help when I feel like somebody else can do a better job than me at something. And I think you'll see that in my business. Like, it's not just about me, it's really about the team that we're building. And so I hope in the future, everybody will get to see a lot more of my team members sort of kind of being front stage and it not just being about me because they add to Kindred Stories as much as I do. But as far as the logo goes, yeah, I have some friends that are graphic designers. They work in
Mhm.
Portland with like Nike and Adidas, and so they helped me. They helped me create, the logo, and then like for the colors, I really wanted something bright and happy and joyful. And
Mhm.
so we came up with all kinds of colors, and then me and my family and my best friends ended up voting on, which colors we thought would be best, and then we moved
Mhm.
on. So yeah, all of that came together really beautifully, and I'm super happy with it.
So how is the day-to-day operation, or what is that like running? But I guess it's good you got that team behind you because
Yeah,
you were doing a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. When I opened up the physical space, it was still just me. But shortly after that, I realized like there's no way that I can do this by myself. I have a family, and it's like super important to me that I'm still present for my children. They're young. And that I still have time to like love on my husband and all of that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the day to day is it's just a lot. I mean, we are, we're managing a really large inventory. It's a bookstore, so we have thousands of books even in this small space. We have so many books that we are responsible for. So we spend a lot of our time, obviously fulfilling orders, restocking when things sell out, looking for books when we can't find them. Another big part is, keeping up with new releases. I mean,
Mhm.
that is really difficult just because so many books come out every Tuesday,
Mhm.
and it's a lot to keep up with. And then obviously, just coordinating, for our events, that takes a lot of
Right.
time. And then, community programming is something that's really important to us as well. So we get a lot of folks that reach out, like they want to collaborate on something, or they want to use the store for something, or they want to use, like a children's book week that's going to be happening
Right.
this weekend. So all of that stuff requires like emails and phone calls and lists, long to-do lists. So it's just a lot. And I think now we, even with the addition of the team, I feel like the more team members we get, the more we start to take on, because we think that our capacity is, we have more capacity, but that's not always true.
Mhm.
So I think right now we're just trying to you know, have a balance of when we say yes and when we say no. And most of it has to do with our own bandwidth. Like, I don't want that, I don't want the stress that I was carrying to now pass on to everybody on the team, right? I want everybody to have full, balanced lives. So, yeah,
Mhm.
we're going to continue to do the events and continue to partner up with folks for community programming, but we'll definitely be saying no. And like over the past holiday season, we decided to close for 2 weeks. That was so that everyone could like get a break, go travel,
Right.
go spend time with family. I think all of those things will always be important to us. We're not Amazon, and we don't have millions of workers,
Mhm.
and we also don't have no Amazon money. But yeah, I think, as we are here for the foreseeable future, our community members will see that like we are going to be close sometimes, and not everything is going to be perfect all the time, and we're going to set boundaries because we want to be in this for the long haul, and we want to be happy too.
But you do a great job. I don't know what's involved with bringing in inventory, but every time I've come in, you always have the latest books that I'm looking for. And I was going to come in and see you this week, but I said, no, I don't want to be spending any more money because I come in there and buy all these books in the
Yeah, well,
store.
we appreciate you, and we always let folks know, like, everybody, the store is really nice, and there are a lot of books, and then there's all the non-book merchandise that we work really hard to curate. And so, you know, everybody's always like, oh my gosh, I just want to like spend all my money. And I'm like, no, 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 please don't, you know, like get one book, don't buy a book, you know, just come and spend time with us and enjoy, because we definitely want to see our customers coming back again and again and again. So, well, thank you for your support.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, do
Yeah.
you have any big events coming up that you could share, or?
Yeah, we have a lot of things coming up. We have your event this Saturday, which we're super
Yes.
excited about. We have a virtual live coming up on Sunday with Cole author Riley. She's the author of This Here Flesh and the creator of Black Liturgies. We have a few in-person events coming up this month, and that is a change that we're starting to see. You know, everything was kind of virtual for a long time, except those like really big author talks that we did last year. And then we had a few local authors that have some in-person stuff, but now it seems like authors that aren't located in Houston or near Houston, they're starting to like venture out, you know, and coming down to the South, spend time with us. So we have a few in-person author events planned this month that we're excited about, but I would definitely encourage everybody to, you know, obviously follow us on Instagram, go to our website. We usually have all of our events posted there.
And what's your
Yeah.
Instagram? Tell them your Instagram handle and
Oh,
website.
yeah. Our Instagram handle is Kindred Stories HTX, and then our website is kindredstorieshtx.com.
And then people, can they order from you even if they're not in Texas?
Absolutely. If you're not in Texas, you know, we have our website that has all of our inventory in store. And so, you know, you can check out for that stuff and we'll get it to you. Or you can support us on bookshop.org. Just select Kindred Stories as your store. And, you know, we get a commission from Bookshop. So that helps for folks that are looking for stuff that we may not have. And if they want to, you know, if they want to get it quickly, they can, you know, they can go to bookshop.org and order it. And then that still supports our store. But then, you know, for other folks, and a lot of folks choose to, you know, email us, you email me, you email Katie to place a special order, and we will get that to you as well.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
want to thank you so much for joining me, Terri. I've been trying to get you on.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm happy that we could like finally get together. And thank you for all of your support. And I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Yeah, I really want to do more and play a role with the store and
Thank
help
you.
support you too. You know, I want to see you
Absolutely.
grow and see you stay strong.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and we want to see the same for you. So I know we're always working on getting those 3 books behind you in the store, but they're on Ingram. So now
Yeah, we'll get them. We'll get it
we'll get
going.
there. We'll get it
Yes.
going for sure. But thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Terri. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Write This. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.